Hey, warm welcome to everybody, and thanks for joining from around the world here. This has always been an amazing get together. When we used to do this physically, used to be the session where all the alliance professionals, all the channel professionals met as a team, as a community, and these relationships are so strong. And we felt the energy, we felt the excitement over the years of organizing this. This would be perhaps our 10th or 12th ECS, kind of getting the community back together. So as you can see from the tremendous engagement we see on the comments, please keep it coming. You guys are not shy. You know how to partner. You know how to talk. So appreciate the back and forth. So with that, if Andrew, you can bring up the slides. Thank you. As Chip was mentioning, we run some best practice roundtables with ecosystem leaders, where we discuss together as a group, as a community, on what some best practices people have followed or have seen in practice that actually work, and then bring it to the community for discussion. And as we discuss these best practices, we are in the process of writing what is called the ecosystem management, best practices kind of guide, where we kind of delve into each one of these best practices and describe the strategy, the methodology, the measurement behind all of these things that come to place. And as you know, driving an ecosystem can have a big exponential, growth to your network, and this big growth can actually come if you actually successfully do the co-build, co-sell, co-market motions really well. This webinar, we are going to talk a lot more about co-sell, and here are some 6 best practices that we found from the co-sell roundtable that we've been conducting this year. So practice number 1, organize your co-sell around the customer lifecycle and not the partner lifecycle. Now, this is a tremendous insight, and it actually stems from a discussion that Mayank, myself, and actually Tom at Accenture had a long time ago, where he talked about how the customer is at the center of the ecosystem. It's not really the vendor. And because the customer is in the center, he called this the Copernican moment, where just as Copernicus described sun at the center, not the earth at the center of the universe, sorry, of the galaxy, of our solar system. The idea here is that the customer is at the center, and we're really managing a life cycle across it. And it has tremendous implications of how incorrectly we have organized partner ecosystems for a long time. So typically most partnering people, when they come to us looking for tools, they're looking at how do we ingest a partner, how do we onboard a partner, how do we deboard a partner. As opposed to that, what we are now organizing ourselves to do is, how do we identify a customer to work with? How do we take that customer to take the first journeys to engage with us as a joint account or as a joint pursuit? How do we sell to this customer? How do we get this customer, because we are in this cloud world, how do we now deploy? How do we now renew this customer? So it's as much a pre-sales process as much as it's a post-sales process, and this entire life cycle is something that has emerged as the focus point of co-sell. So keep that in mind, and I think a lot of interesting things shift as a result of that. How you incentivize people, Mank will talk about this as well. And David later on from HP is talking about measurements. You'll see a lot of this implications come out because you're organizing now around the customer lifecycle. Tremendous first point. Second is this best practice of how to make co-sell repeatable. After doing, we've noticed and observed, just to give you a sense, rough order of magnitude, we manage close to $70 to $80 billion in co-sell revenue worldwide across our alliances on Workspan today. And what we found with the best alliances that have made co-sell repeatable is because they have created joint solutions on the back of co-sell. So to make co-sell repeatable, you can identify joint solutions, and these joint solution build process itself is a remarkable journey from taking an idea all the way to launch, together as a community, together as a partnership to market. And one of the best examples I can give you is, as COVID struck through, you will notice your best GSI alliances, your best cloud partnerships, your best CSPs were the ones that quickly moved, pivoted, created new agile solutions to put to market, especially in relevant industries and categories. As retail was being reinvented, there were solutions put out with a lot of speed into market. And that kind of signifies how important making Corecell repeatable through joint solutioning is. Third best practice we identified was establishing norms around data sharing and data privacy. As many of you have used and learned Workspan over the years, we were founded on the whole concept of a network and the ability to share securely, privately, with as much transparency or translucency as you need in a relationship. And the controls of the data lie with each company. So you're not giving away the data, you're controlling the sharing of the data and the withdrawal of that data on the platform down to the field level. So an important thing here is that as your organization matures from having 100% visibility into your your CRM data, but only for internal purposes, as you come work with an ecosystem, especially in Corecell, you will have to establish norms around data sharing. What do you share? Is account name good to share? And when do you share it? At what stage do you share it? Is forecast good to share? Perhaps not, but that could be kept private only to your employees. So stuff like that, establishing that norm and data privacy, and then instituting policies so that every alliance doesn't reinvent the policy. You enforce the policy consistently worldwide. And eyes shut, you can establish security with full compliance to your data privacy needs. So that's number three. Protecting our alliance professionals with that is a key best practice. I'm really excited about alliance best practices and channel best practices that have emerged for 4, 5, and 6 below here, because some of our speakers later on are going to especially touch on this topic, starting with number 4. As the ecosystem has formed, has created its own stack, and people are adopting this Corecell methodology and measurement becomes really, really important. So you have to, as an organization leader, establish metrics that measure the influence metrics from Corecell. And that's really important because as an alliance leader, you have to stand before the board and really tell them the impact that your partner just brought to the table. We know that alliances do a really good job in kind of opening up new doors. A deal that can happen 6 months down the line, the door was really opened by a strategic alliance 6 months earlier. And then there might be multiple alliances pursuing that same deal, so you may have to split the credit. Things like that you have to really establish so that you can stand credibly before your board and communicate the metrics and say, this is the impact of my organization. This is the value to the company in terms of enhancing new solutions and revenue from new solutions from new partners. That new vocabulary around ecosystem source leads, ecosystem source opportunities, ecosystem source revenue is getting established at this very moment. So I know David and Mayank are going to really talk about this. So the next session will be really exciting to cover this best practice. Next one is driving accountability. And if anything, I would recommend this session with Bronwyn Hastings, who's coming up next during this session. This is going to really cover how do you translate strategy into action and driving accountability through partnerships, because running in an agile way requires you to almost run your alliance business function like any other function with the cadence and the discipline that's needed. So running cadence calls and as if these are agile sprints that you're running. That's the methodology that we've seen some of the best companies kind of adopt. And lastly, the best practice number 6 is Corecell. It starts as Corecell, and we all know that in Corecell, it becomes multi-partner very, very fast. So I'm excited about Dan Rupi's session together with Puneet. They're going to talk about partner to partner and look no further than Microsoft. The amount of innovation that they've poured into Microsoft Partner Center, together with Workspan, the deep integration, there's an announcement coming on this. And ISV, SI, and hyperscaler is a very common pattern. It doesn't need to be. There are numerous other patterns, especially in IoT, telecom. We are seeing multi-partner Corecell become a reality. Because at the end of the day, back to the best practice number one, when you put the customer in the center, you have to put the solution, the sales, and the deployment around that customer. And it often tends to be the ecosystem in a multi-party way that's coming together. So we really need to know how to instrument this and do this in a better way. And this is the way, if you were to kind of put a schema to things, and this is the right way to describe it. On the left-hand side could be your CRM system. That is a system of record for your sales teams. That's where your account executives sit in. You could be running on Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, SAP, Siebel, anything you want. And on the right-hand side, your partners similarly have a system like that. But in the middle, to do Corecell, you need a platform like Workspan, which becomes a joint system of record, a system of collaboration, a system that gives you insights on partnering. So for example, it can give you the right solution recommendations, it can give you the right partnering recommendations, and so on and so forth. The Corecell collaboration platform essentially puts your team together with your partner's team. And this can be one-way, two-way, three-way, partnering. And having a joint plan to actually do this is magical in some ways, because you can finally kiss goodbye to those spreadsheets that you've been lugging for years. I've seen horrible spreadsheets with 52 tabs for 52 weeks, and then manual reconciling with your own CRM systems. Imagine a connected systems on both sides that actually gives you this clarity of where you stand in terms of a co-sell relationship with a key partner. If you can put one slide forward. Now, if you think about that co-sell business motion and think about the Workspan business network, this network has gotten a lot more populated over the last couple of years. Back in 2014, it was just 2 companies on the network. I remember Intel being our founding company on the network. The Intel Inside version for data centers, starting to collaborate with SAP, Red Hat and SUSE, VMware and companies like that. That really formed the initial network of Workspan. But as we rolled out Corecell, that's when really this network took off like crazy. And what you see, these lines are actually the number of joint opportunities or number of joint objects between these companies. And you can see clear concentration points around companies that have clearly adopted Workspan as their de facto collaboration Corecell platform, and others that are coming along in the journey. Now, when you think of this network, there are 3 key concepts here. One is it is a co-equal network where companies join a network with their employees, their own single sign-on, and their own CRM, and they are ready to work. And they are ready to work with anybody in a Corecell format on this network. So that's the key thing here, is people and companies and their identities ready to work on a shared network like Workspan. That's key. Second is towards the right-hand side, you see this neutral CRM driving collaboration capabilities, right? This is where we are talking about Corecell. And if you think of the Corecell business process, this joint collaboration workflow is happening on the Workspan platform, where you can drive the activities all the way from identifying early on what the opportunity is, all the way to settling and closing the pursuit, if you will. Now let's give some very simple examples of this thing. If you can move one slide forward, Andrew. Citrix is going to talk about the partner-to-partner program later on today. They are collaborating with Microsoft in a P2P Corecell environment, where there's a lot of Corecell happening between Citrix and Microsoft. Especially with this pandemic, they've emerged as an amazing resource for companies as they've scaled their virtualization, their security across the world. And Citrix new solutions, working with Azure, working with their Office 365 suite and others, these are repeatable use cases that they want to co-sell together with Microsoft. But equally important in all this is the GSI in the equation. Just to take one example of Wipro, Premier Workspan partner as well, collaborating 3 ways to then take these solutions to market and actually track the co-sell in a 3-way way. So real live example of something that happens on the network. These companies are connected, Microsoft with their Microsoft Partner Center, Citrix with their Salesforce.com, and Wipro with their Microsoft Dynamics system on the back end. Let's advance one more slide and take a more complex example, right? So in our last ECS, we had an example from SAP. SAP and Accenture are collaborating together on Corecell. This is one of the world's largest Corecell relationships, thousands and thousands of opportunities worldwide, worth billions. The idea here is it's not just Corecell here between these two companies, but where we see this going is that Accenture is not only working with SAP, David and at HPE and Accenture have really formed a great partnership to do another Corecell relationship on the same platform. And again, when they had to do this, they didn't have to do one more CRM integration, which is a point-to-point integration. They connect once to the network, and then they are ready to work with an SAP or to an HPE or to a Citrix or to any other company on the network. And same thing for HPE. It's wonderful to see use cases where on HPE gear, it could be a Citrix workload, for example, deployed together with Infosys. Similarly, Citrix is actually an endorsed partner with SAP applications as well. So you can see that node also start to form. So the net point of this visual is that Corecell and partner-to-partner Corecell is far easier done on a network, where a network business model allows you, a network operating model and a platform offers you this capability to then create the platform once and then scale it as you build more strategic alliances and partnerships in Corecell. And it's far easier on a network than, let's say, having you to orchestrate this on a portal yourself, point to point with each company on your own. Let's advance one more slide. And this leads to the announcement for today. And I'll bring it home right after this. So extremely delighted that on top of our Corecell collaboration platform, today we are announcing the general availability of Microsoft Partner to Partner capability on Workspan. You can find this on Microsoft App Source already. The offering is called Microsoft P2P Collaboration Platform. I want to really thank Dan Rippey, Dan Truax, Gabriela Schuster, and the whole OCP organization for supporting this initiative. And over the last 6 months, we've been, or 9 months rather, we've been working on building the integration at Workspan to Microsoft Partner Center to enable something like this. As a result, what happens on Workspan is any admin on Workspan can simply switch on the capability to work with Microsoft. It's a consent that's given on Workspan. And then with an integration framework that we've established with Microsoft Power Automate, you can connect directly to bidirectionally connect with Microsoft Partner Center. So it's not only, these capabilities come as a result of that. You can build joint business plans with your partner, give it goals and metrics. You can track your revenue. Microsoft can track the Azure consumption revenue, for example. And then there's a key use case around pre-pipeline sharing. So as you know, Workspan is famous for driving the pre-pipeline collaboration, where you identify and qualify the need or an opportunity, a Corecell opportunity especially. And that can be registered directly into Microsoft Partner Center with a few clicks. And the links are live on Workspan. You can bidirectionally also consume any incoming referrals that are coming from Microsoft Partner Center. So this pipeline sharing as a result, all the way connected to your own CRM system is now possible. So if you think of a true end-to-end in a multi-company way, connected to each company's CRM system, but also to Microsoft Partner Center, you can then have a shared book of business that you can then run the trusted collaboration metrics on top of it. So it really gives you a good control over Microsoft, not only as a partner, but also as a channel to work with other partnering systems. And that's why I'm really excited about Dan's point of view around this topic, that your channel is a platform actually, and how do you scale it is a key question. And towards that, we have an offer. This offer expires Jan 31st, 2021. Since we are launching this today, we are launching it with an offer as well. It's $48,000 per year. Your company plus Microsoft plus 10 partners of your choice. License services all in, typical go live time is less than 3 weeks. So that's the offer. Very, very excited to make this announcement here today. And Chip, with that, I want to hand back the floor to you for the next session.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Amit. That was
And if there are any questions from the team, happy to take it.
There is actually Manoj Bhatia from Verizon. I think I'm going to just turn on your mic, Manoj. Let's see if are you there? Can we hear you?
Yes, yes, definitely. You can hear me now. I'm so excited to be on this call. So really, like the Microsoft announcement is a big one here, and quite interesting for us because we are right in that middle ground right now on setting up that program and the Corecell idea. So it's really exciting to be seeing that launch from Workspan officially coming into the works. So I'm really excited. Let's see, how things all work out in the next few weeks, few months, and it should be all good times.
Awesome. Exciting. Thank you, Manoj.
Sure.
We look forward to it.
I see Norberto asked if we could show the slide again. So we can go ahead, maybe Andrew, if you can put the slide up again real quickly. We are going to share the slides for the whole event afterwards as well. Excellent. Amit, thank you. That was fantastic. And we're actually keeping on time, which is great as well. So that's we're off to a good start. So that's fantastic.